What's up everybody, welcome back. The time has come for me to upgrade from the 2014 MacBook Pro that I've been using, and I'm gonna build a PC. I didn't actually know if I was gonna go with Windows or if I was gonna buy an iMac, but at the end of the day, I was convinced that I was gonna be able to build a better PC than I could buy an iMac. Everything is going inside of this case. This is a Corsair case. We have the graphics card. It's a MSI GeForce RTX. We have the motherboard here. This is basically going to be the brains of the operation. Everything plugs into that, it ties it all together. And I guess the real bulk behind all of this is going to be the Ryzen 9 processor. So that kind of is the brains. This is the connection that ties it all together. And then I have a 970 NVMe SSD for all of my main applications. We have a hard drive, 4TB hard drive here. And then we have a secondary SSD for everything else. 64 gigs of RAM that we'll be installing, and a liquid cooled CPU cooler. Let's get started. Okay, so we have the motherboard right here. This is where the CPU is gonna go. We have the spaces for all of the RAM, as well as my SSD that's gonna plug in right here. So first thing we're gonna do is take the CPU out of the box. We'll plug that into that spot right there. And then we'll take the RAM, put that in here, and the SSD, plug that in. Okay, so the CPU is right here, and this is technically a CPU cooler that comes with it, but I went a little bit different route and I got this guy, which is a liquid cooled CPU cooler. So this is gonna do a better job than the fan would at keeping the CPU cool, especially when the edits get pretty intense. So that is gonna go on top of the CPU instead of this fan right here, and should keep it much cooler. Now that the CPU is installed, I'm gonna install the RAM right here. The RAM, I've got 64 gigs of it, so each card is gonna be 16 gigs. That is gonna go right here. All right, so with each one of these cards for the RAM, it's gonna click in a specific way. So you're gonna slide it into the slot, push down until it clicks, just like that. And you're gonna do that with each one. While I'm doing everything over here on the motherboard, Caden is over here getting the CPU cooler set up. He's basically just installing the fans so that those will help keep the radiator cool, which in turn keeps the CPU cool. And these guys are doing nothing. Well, you can't say Caden's not doing anything. He's definitely doing something. Okay, so we have the CPU installed as well as the RAM. I'm gonna take the SSD right here and we're gonna install that next. This is gonna be the fastest SSD of the entire build. I have 3 separate storage devices. This one, and then this guy, as well as this big ass hard drive. This is gonna be where all the media is stored and like off storage, like cold storage. And then we're gonna have applications and operating system on this. And this one's also gonna be for applications and miscellaneous. So the motherboard is ready to be put into the case. So we have the CPU, all of the RAM here, the SSD installed. At this point, it's gonna be easier to install this now rather than putting other things in. So let's put the motherboard in and keep going. We have the motherboard installed, that's good to go. Caden has the fans all squared away on that. So we're gonna install the fans and the CPU cooler now. So Caden, explain how this all works.
That's a lot. Basically what I'm doing right now, I'm just taking the cooler itself, having an output of where all of your intake fans from the very front are coming in, pushing in cool air. You'll have, of course, the graphics card in this case. But from here, you're gonna have your outtake fans where you're gonna have two coming from your CPU, pulling off anything off the radiator, pushing it out, as well as basically anything else that's creating power.
So why is there specifically like a CPU cooler?
So the Ryzen 3900X, the one that you purchased, the 3 series, that guy. It's strictly for production / graphical use. A lot of high intensity use out of it. Personally, I have it myself. It works wonderful for gaming, but when you're doing 4K rendering or any type of like video production, the processing speed is tenfold compared to a lot of processors that are out there now. So it's definitely one of the best ones to be looking at. And
that is exactly what I wanted out of this build, is I wanted something that I could edit on and I could get 4K footage. It wasn't gonna be slowed down by it. Wasn't gonna be slowed down by different effects that I have to render. So hopefully this does the job. So this all screws in from the top. So once the fans are installed, you're just gonna come over here and you're gonna put these screws in at the top as well as down on the bottom. And it should be all set in place. Now we're gonna put the CPU cooler on. On the bottom of this, you have this stuff, which is called thermal paste. And basically what it does is it helps keep the CPU cool. And so Caden basically told me that I have one shot to get this centered right. Otherwise, we basically have to start over again with the whole thing. And we don't have any extra thermal paste, so hopefully this goes right the first time. All right. Right there.
Is it really?
Actually, I was pretty much like, we have the CPU cooler on, we have the motherboard in. Now it's time to connect some cables. So basically what we're gonna be doing is taking all of these cables here, connecting them into the motherboard down here, so that everything lights up, is powered, all these USB slots up at the top work, everything like that. So we've got the Windows 10 Pro USB stick installed. TV is processing it. Right now it's installing Windows, so that's gonna take a little bit, maybe 15-20 minutes. And then once that installs Windows successfully, we should be pretty much good to go. For cable management, we just have a few zip ties going around everything, trying to keep everything relatively clean. Not as worried about the back as we are the front. So the front obviously looks super clean. Don't have to worry about that. And the back is as clean as we really need it to be. All we need is for that piece, this panel, to go on, and we'll be set. It took two of us. I didn't really get it on camera, but we got the back piece on, so that's gonna be the side panel. Last piece we're gonna do is add the panel back on the front of it, so we'll be able to see through into the computer here. Oh. Looks good to me. What about you?
I like it a lot. It looks really good, really clean.
The computer is fully built, it's fully functional, it's ready to take on any of the future projects that I have and hopefully not have any issues with rendering, processing, editing, color grading, anything like that. Definitely huge thanks to Caden. I definitely couldn't have gotten this done as quickly as we did without him. It took us maybe, what, like 4 hours?
Yeah, 4 or 5 hours.
4 or 5 hours, and that was with filming, so pretty quick. If you have a friend who knows how to build one, they definitely can help out. So the only thing left to do is take this home, put some footage on it, see how it handles it. Everything you guys see from this point, including this video going forward, will be edited on this desktop. If you're curious what went into this build, I'll link everything down in the video description below. I got it all from Amazon. Check it out if you're interested. Thanks a ton for watching, guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos. I'll see you next time.